All right, so we're gonna do a full upper body workout that involves no weight. It's all body weight, and this is gonna burn. It's gonna be high reps, high intensity. We're gonna build some great endurance, especially in the shoulders. And we're also going to be in a lot of isometric poses in our bow and cornering phase, so we can make sure that we kind of ingrain that into our software, into our iOS, so we can make sure when we're doing our traveling drills and our sprinting, our more dynamic, explosive movements, that we're going to be in those safe, secure positions. So, let me take you guys through this. So after you do all your mobility exercises on the ground, now we're gonna start with spine circles. It's gonna be the first exercise in this upper body circuit. So we're gonna start off with our feet cornered. So if you had two lasers on your knees and you were pointing them, they would make an X. From here, we're gonna be back chain dominant, pushing our butt back, having a nice soft knee, big chest. And I'm gonna take my thumbs, I'm gonna put them onto my sternum. And from here, I'm not gonna get too much rotation in my hips. I'm gonna get all from my upper back, basically from my sternum up. So I really wanna make circles around my rib cage. So from here, my thumbs are on my sternum. I'm going to do a side bend. Then I'm going to go into flexion, just a little bit. And then I'm gonna go into side bend, back to extension. And I'm going to knock out 20 spine circles. Really making sure that I hit every part of the spine, going nice and slow, nice and controlled, nice and methodical, not these quick, fast, dynamic movements here. We're trying to get full range of motion on both sides. So we're nice and secure on this first exercise. 20 to our right, 20 to our left, then we go into the next one. So right after spine circles, we're gonna use a wall, and we're gonna be doing the shoulder gyroscope series. Now the first exercise I'm going to do is the shoulder circles. And I'm going to start in a bow and corner air chair. So this is a narrow air chair. So we want to make sure that our feet are in line with our ankles, knees, and hips. For the first part, I'm going to be in the bow position. I want to maintain inside ankle bone high. I want to keep that integrity. I'm going to be on the outside blade of my foot. The big toe and second toe is going to be straight ahead. And I'm going to really get these heels off the ground and keep climbing up till I'm in a bit of an uncomfortable position to really hold that posture and that good strength and, build up the feet. From here, I'm going to push my back off of the wall. I'm gonna get that curvature in my back to really kind of decompress the spine and really open it up. From here, I'm going to pack my shoulders down and back. So I'm gonna retract, pack, and then my palms are gonna be down. So I'm gonna be doing forward shoulder circles. So this is all of our gyroscope. And now you have a nice isometric pose here, still building some integrity and strength in our feet. Now, if your legs start to shake, that's fine. That's just the central nervous system. Just kick it into high gear. We're making some changes. Notice that I'm not going fast. I'm going at a good, slow, controlled tempo. I can pick up going a little bit higher, a little bit more range of motion in my shoulders as I start to get a little bit more repetitions in. We have 50 repetitions going forward. Then I flip and go back. And as I go backwards, now I'm gonna corner my hips. So I'm gonna have those knees cross and heels away. Get as high as I can up on the outside blades of my feet, retract and pack. Now I'm gonna do backwards circles. That is our air chair, bow and corner, first part of the shoulder series, gyroscopes going back. Here we go. So the second part of the shoulder series, we're gonna go into a split squat, elbow curl. So we're gonna set up in our split squat position. Now, we're gonna have a bow in the front leg and we're gonna corner the back leg. Now, what I want you guys to really emphasize is the front leg. This is our landing position in all of our dynamic elements into our change of direction cuts and our forward sprints. So what we want is the foot to be straight ahead. So big toe, second toe is going to be straight. I want you guys to really make sure and emphasize that you're in the outside blade of the foot. This is going to feel uncomfortable, and it should be, because we're going to strengthen up those small intrinsic muscles in the foot. Now we're going to really rise up and get as high as we can and make sure that this inside ankle bone is high, heel off the ground. From here, You're gonna have to maintain your balance in this position. This kneecap is going to turn 22.5 degrees because our shoulders are going to rotate towards that side. The back leg, you're not gonna have it too far back, but you're not gonna have it too close, in a position that you guys can balance in. The heel is going to be away all day long. This is gonna internally rotate the hip, and this knee and the back side is going to point 22.5 degrees on that rotation side. So the shoulders will rotate now. I'm gonna lean over, and from here, I'm gonna have my hands come to the back of my head, and I'm gonna now retract and pull back my scapula down and back as I tighten up that back, and then relax, and then pull using these lats to come in front and squeeze. So retract, pack, squeeze, relax, squeeze. So I'm just gonna go back and forth. I'm gonna hit 15 repetitions like this. And you can see if this heel starts to drop down, I wanna climb back up and really get that bow in that back leg. My front leg. My back leg is just gonna be a kickstand. I'm on that pinky toe, the fourth and fifth metatarsals, and I'm just really driving and really pulling my back scaps together. Once I finish 15, I'll go to this side, so we get a great isometric hold on both sides, but that is ingraining that proper position that into our iOS, into our software, so now it becomes muscle memory into our subconscious when we're starting to make those cuts, and we're just building upper back strength, building up all that strength in that tissue in that back. If at any point that you can't maintain integrity and you feel way more in the feet, if in the leg, and that quad is just shaking, you can put your heel down on the ground to give you a little bit more support, a little bit more balance, and that will take a little bit of the pain away, but still that in that isometric hold, it will be tough because you're not just flying through the shoulder work, you're doing it at a nice controlled, methodical pace. So if it starts to shake and maybe you only get 15 seconds, 30 seconds of some work there, drop that leg, still get into this good posture position so we can still maintain good integrity and within our iOS software, so when we get on the field, we're in those good, safe, secure positions. So now we're gonna finish off the shoulder series before we get into some dynamic work in our Spiderman Crawls. You guys are gonna absolutely love that. But before we do that, we're gonna finish with the shoulder rolls. I want 15 forward, 15 back, but this is the way I want it done. We're gonna go into our cornering phase because we know that a lot of us lack the internal rotation of the hip. So we're gonna go knees crossing, heels away. And if you can, really try to get up onto the outside portion of our feet so your heels are slightly off the ground if you can maintain that type of balance. From here, I'm gonna maintain the back chain, so I'm gonna push my butt back, chest up, get that curvature in my low back so we can kind of open that up. We're not all kind of stiff and tight and round in the top. And here is the key to this. We're going to first go forward, and what I want is you're gonna pull those shoulder blades down and back, and then you're going to roll up, hold and squeeze, and then come around. Pull down and back, squeeze the upper back together, up, and come back. And what you're gonna notice here is you're gonna get a lot of activation in those scaps, in that whole upper back complex, because it is gonna be on fire, especially now that you've already done a lot of the shoulder work. So I pull, retract, and back. So if you can see from the back here, I'm going to retract, pack, pull up, and relax. Once I do 15, then I'm gonna go backwards. I'm gonna retract and pack and squeeze, come down, and just maintain that tempo. Retract, pack, and squeeze, and come around. That's the shoulder series. Now we're gonna go on to the next portion. Okay, so we finished the spine circles, we did the shoulder routine, we got that all fired up, we're primed and ready to go. Now we're gonna go into our Spiderman Crawls. Now what I love about this is that it mimics the same movement patterns in our GOATA walk. So what I need you guys to do is to get into that pattern first. So get into that position. So we're gonna bow the front leg, inside ankle bone high, corner the back leg. Everything is pointing 22.5 degrees. The shoulders are in line. I'm gonna have this hand here, right here, this one in the back. Now all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna drop down and then just maintain the same position. This was the high hand, this was the low hand. These two are gonna be together. If I'm on my left side, very close, these ones will be the far one. Now, a lot of this will be a lot of hip driven. So not only are my shoulders gonna get stronger and more secure and balanced, but we're also gonna work on that hip and the outside blades of our feet. We're really gonna start to get some rotation and pivoting. This is the same way that babies crawl. This is the innate movement pattern that we're born with that we lose from being decoded. So now this is gonna really be ingrained back into our central nervous system, back into our hardware, back into our iOS, so we can start to get that fluidity and mobility and strength and integrity back into our body. So I'm gonna be here. All I wanna do is when I'm on the ground, I'm gonna maintain that outside blade of the hand. Just like a cheetah, a lion in the wild, they're gonna be up on that hand and they're not gonna let that drop in. So I'm here, and then I'm just gonna switch sides. And then this hand will come up as I get that balance, and I'm just here. Now, the front foot, maintain that bow and that forward line. So that big toe, second toe should be straight. This hand's here, you notice how my shoulders are rotating, because now I'm gonna take all that energy, all that pressure wave. Now what I like to do is I like to drive that back leg straight. This leg will corner once it's finishing, because I'm pivoting off this front leg. Boom. And pivot and turn. Notice that hip is going to rotate. I'm going to spin all that energy from one side, gather it all up through the midline, get nice and strong, nice and secure, and I'm building integrity. And notice everything is going to be like a nice isometric hold each and every time, because I want to ingrain it. And as I go and I start to get a flow and I start to get a little bit more dynamic and I start to move into it, that's what I want. 100 yards. And that's gonna get you guys a lot stronger in those shoulders. Here we go. All right, so now that we're finished with Spiderman Crawls and the shoulders are activated, and they are gonna be activated, we're gonna go into our push-ups. This is not any ordinary push-ups. This is our bow and corner push-ups. I'm gonna show you the setup. We're gonna be knocking out 20 to 30 repetitions, depending on your endurance and your level as an athlete, and how many you can do with proper integrity and form throughout. So, we want to make sure that our palms are in line with our elbow and our shoulders, and we're about shoulder distance apart. We don't want to be too close. These aren't narrow push-ups, okay? They're a little bit wider. So we want to make sure we can really create a bow. And the bow position is going to be here, which is going to be the inside. So that's a bow, and then that's the corner. So when I extend my arms, we want to corner the shoulder. So really we're rotating, but we won't be able to actually rotate our hands. We're just actually rotating the shoulder to turn within that ball and socket. So we're gonna get that rotation and turn. Just like a quarterback would throw it and a thumb comes down, or a pitcher would come, or a boxer would bring that punch around, you're gonna see that shoulder rotate and the thumb come down. That's what we're gonna think about rotating. So once we have that set up, our back of our feet, they're not going to be too wide, but we are going to corner them. So we're going to corner our feet so our heels are away, so we can maintain that integrity throughout the entire chain. From here, I'm going to drop down, but I'm just not going to drop down and get into a bad position. I'm going to slowly control myself down about a 1 to 2 second tempo, and I'm going to pack and retract and come down with my back. So I'm just not going to let my chest do all the work. I'm going to squeeze my back all the way down to get all those muscles firing up that we just used in the shoulder exercises. And then as I come up, then I'm going to go from that bow and then corner and then come back again. So this really hits everything in the proper way we want to do it. So once I'm here, feet are cornered, I'm gonna be on the outside blades of my feet. I'm gonna retract and pack as I go down. My chest is gonna be level with my hips and my feet. Once I'm in the bottom, I'm in the bow position. My elbows are out. As I come up, I'm going to now drive, and you're gonna see my elbows turn. It's the same as when we're in the standing position and we're doing our GOATA walks. The kneecap will turn, or even if our drop-ins, the kneecap is going to turn. So my elbows are gonna go in, so my elbows are now gonna turn. I'm squeezing my upper back, retract, and as I come up, boom. I rotate, you see my shoulders are rotating, and my elbow is going away from me. Elbows are going in, I can explode up, elbows are gonna go away. So we're gonna get that bow action, and as I come around the corner, they turn. I wanna show you guys this. I get that bow, and see when I come around the corner, it internally rotates. It's all the same. We're doing the same actions, maintaining strength, stability, and a lot of explosive fluidity throughout those shoulders to really get the best bang for our buck. 20 to 30 repetitions. Let's go. So this is the last part of the circuit. And at this point, you're gonna be pretty fried up top. Your legs are gonna be a little bit drained. So we're gonna jump onto the ground and we're gonna go through a core circuit. Now there's 120 total reps. We're gonna be 3 different exercises, 40 each, and they're gonna be going 20 per side. Now what I want you guys to really focus on is really maintaining good integrity and form throughout. Now this is gonna be really your active rest period. So once you finish this, you can get right back and start your spine circles all over again, and we got 3 rounds of everything. So the first part is going to be an alternating Superman, and I'm going to show you 2 different variations if it starts to get a little difficult and you can't do the first one. So here's the first exercise that I'm looking for. It's going to be opposite arm to opposite leg. You're going to get your shoulders off the ground. That's what I really want out of here, and you want to touch in the middle of your belly button. So you want to be up here and you're going to be touch, and if you can maintain both arms and both legs off the ground, that's great. But we also want to notice that I'm going to rotate as I go to touch. So when I come up, I rotate. So I'm gonna not only hit the deep transverse abdominals, but I'm also gonna work some side oblique and a little bit of low back as I do it. So we're gonna knock out 20 per side. Now, if you can't do that full length extension with a straight arm and a straight leg, we can go palm to knee and still get a good rotation in these Supermans. So I can just go here, come up, and drop back down, nice and controlled every single time. If that gets a little bit too strenuous and you need to kind of take a break, you can put both hands, both arms on the ground, come up, and that just gives you just a second to catch your breath and let everything relax. Once we finish the Superman series and it's 20 per side, we're gonna go right into a prone lying back extension. So I'm gonna lie on my stomach, my hands are gonna go behind my head. This time I wanna have my heels away. We don't wanna let those heels drop in, heels away. Hands behind the head. As I come up into extension, I'm going to turn and rotate as much as I can. This is not only gonna burn the upper back, it's gonna really work a little bit of side obliques and the glutes and hamstrings. So I'm gonna be here, come up and rotate. Up as I can and rotate. Now, what will make this even more difficult, and you can get a little bit higher off the ground, is if you had someone, or if you can kind of anchor your legs to the ground. So if you had some weights or something to anchor your legs down or somebody to hold them, you'd be able to get higher up like this and really get a good rotation. But if you're by yourself, this is fine. Up and rotate. There is no substitute for this. Really, you're just not gonna be able to turn as much. But you really wanna get a lot of low back, a little bit of obliques as I turn and get that side bend, hamstrings and glutes. Once I finish that, and that's 20 per side, I'm gonna finish off with Russian twists, legs off the ground, cross-legged. At this point, your hip flexors might be a little bit tight. You can always just put your legs on the ground. That is fine. That'll make it just a little bit easier. Those are the 2 variations here. And I want to get good rotations, hand on the sternum, and I'm going to touch my elbow to the ground. So I want that elbow, and if that's too easy, then I can put my hand all the way to the ground. So that's 2 variations up top. 20 reps per side, getting a good side obliques and really hitting those core nice and hard, nice and fast, nice and dynamic, just like we play the game. We want to make sure it's strong, so when we make those hard, aggressive cuts, everything in that core is going to now be your friend and be able to allow you to be that game-changing athlete I know you guys want to be. This was an amazing circuit. This is going to really take your game to that next level, but we didn't even have to touch a weight. It's all body weight. It's all high reps, so high volume, and we got to make sure we get in durability, and that's what the game's all about. Durability, but also for you guys to maintain integrity throughout and really build endurance. You're an endurance athlete, even though that you might be an athlete that's very quick, very dynamic. We're gonna need you in the 4th quarter. We're gonna need you in the 90th minute. We're gonna need you in the 3rd period. We're gonna need you in the 9th inning. We're gonna need you when the game is on the line. And that's where not only durability, but your ability to have that endurance. See you guys next time.